Greetings, royal family. It's time for Shahs of Sunset. They are back. Season 9, episode 1. Let me tell you something. Two things are for sure when it comes to, the Shahs, right? Mike is definitely going to cheat and screw up whatever relationship that he's in, all right? And Reza is going to give us an ugly cry at least once, if not twice, throughout this season, okay? So the misfits are back, okay? And I have to say that I was impressed with the season premiere. I'm playing catch up. So episode 1 of season 9 opens up with Gigi, right? So you guys know Gigi is a mom now, and she's kind of grown into a different person, kind of. You know, she's given up her knife collection. She says she misses her knives, and Gigi was very dangerous, put it that way. So she's calmed down. So you see her spending time with her baby. She also has a caretaker, like a nanny as well, to help her out with her son, which is good because I don't know. Gigi needs help. Okay, it's okay to ask for help when needed, and I'm glad to see that she's not trying to do everything on her own. It was really good to see Gigi with her sister Layla, because baby, I don't think they've ever gotten along in all of these seasons of Shahs. I've been watching since season 1, and I don't think they ever got along, right? So her sister Layla was present when Gigi gave birth to her son. She chose to have her sister in the delivery room, being that she had the baby right when the pandemic hit. And she did not want her mom or her dad because they're older, right? So her sister was there, and it seems like they've bonded since then. And again, all they used to do is fight. So to see them having a calm, civil interaction that seemed genuine was good. And I know that their parents are relieved because, honey, they used to stress their parents out with all that fighting, okay? So we move on to see Reza and Adam. They're in the kitchen. Adam is baking, all right, doing his housewife thing, okay? So they've done more renovations to their home because Reza, he's like, a real estate mogul. So that's his thing. He's always improving putting equity into his home and improving his home. So, that backyard, I just think of Tommy when I think of the backyard. Anyway, they showed the transformation of the backyard, from when they bought the house to now. So now it looks beautiful. There's a pool there. There's a sitting area. It looks very comfy and very cozy. So everything looks good. So they seem to be okay for now. So they're baking a pie, and the pie is done. So you see Reza walking with the pie. And I'm like, now who done moved in the neighborhood? Destiny. So Miss Thing bought a house across the street from Reza, right? So he brings over the pie. They chit chat. They sit in the backyard. Reza tells Destiny that, he misses MJ, and he wants to send her a text asking her to meet up for drinks, which he did. Destiny encourages him to do so. I think Destiny misses MJ as well, but she doesn't know how to take her. She's kind of still mad at her. So what they do is they decide to stalk her Instagram page, and Destiny's like, don't like anything, just looking to see how baby Shams is doing, what she's up to. Now, is it me, or does Reza only miss MJ like when it's time to film for the show, right? Baby Shams is damn near off to college, and Reza still hasn't seen him. And that hurt MJ a lot. If you remember from last season, the fact that Reza was not there for MJ in the hospital when she was going through a tough pregnancy and a tough recovery, the fact that he wasn't there, that really hurt her. And that's, among other things, just made me look at Reza completely different. Like, they have gone through countless arguments through the years, but he was only concerned about himself and saving face, because all of this is Adam's fault. I'm going to keep saying that. I said it last season, and I'm saying it again this season. Anywho. But yeah, Reza, you foul for that. And I know you probably regret it. You should have been there for MJ, man. She was really going through it in the hospital. But anyway, we move on to see Magic Mike, baby. So he's living in a bachelor pad, basically, okay? He said that he put his house up for sale, and he's renting an apartment. So Mike and Nima, they still have this like strong bromance. Nima comes over. Nima says that, his business was impacted by the pandemic and he had to close one of his businesses. So he was venting to Mike. Nima gives me very much, he got a crush on Mike. I get it. They're comfortable in their sexuality and they joke around a lot. But Nima gives me very much, I can't really be who I want to be because of my culture. Anywho, no judgment here. I mean, it is what it is, but I get it. He probably can't, be who he really wants to be because of his culture. I'm just saying, his family may frown upon that. Who knows? No judgment here. So I don't know if I missed this last season, right? But Paulina is still legally married. Paulina is Mike's girlfriend. She's still legally married. Did y'all know this? Now, I know she has children, 2 kids, right? And I know I thought they said she was married, but I totally missed the part that she is still legally married. Anyway, Mike brought that up in the scene, and Mike shared that, Paulina lives next to one of her in-laws, like her cousin-in-law or whatever, and he's not comfortable going over to her place, and he wants to buy a house with Paulina. This is what he's telling Nima, and they've only been together for 2 years, and she's still married. Tell me if y'all remember that from last season, because I damn sure don't. I thought she was divorced, but whatever. I could be wrong. Anywho, so when Mike started talking to me, when he started talking that buying a house together mess, I knew that there was something that he was trying to cover up or something that he's trying to make up for something. Like he's trying to, make up for a situation. You know what I'm saying? Mike, we've been down this road before with you. I just feel like since the beginning of this show, Mike has had the same issue, and I think it's time for him to seek professional help. And I'm not being sarcastic when I say that. Like, it's the same thing with Mike over and over again, the same issues. So, Iyanla would try to dig deep and find out the cause of his issues. We keep seeing patterns. There's a pathology there probably. It's showing up, Mike. It's showing up every season. So anyway, we shift to MJ and Tommy. So MJ, she gets the text that Reza sent her, wanting to meet up for drinks. She agrees. And she's talking to Tommy, who Reza still has a restraining order against. In fact, Reza extended the restraining order for, I think, 3 years, MJ said, right? So Tommy is MJ's husband. Tommy is hot, okay? He's hot about Reza reaching out to MJ, but his new technique that he learned in anger management, it's keeping him in control of his emotions because Tommy is very loud. He's very, where's he from? Boston or New York? He's from New York, right? He's a New Yorker. He's very loud, like my kind of guy. I like Tommy. I really, really do. Anyway, he made it clear to MJ that, he understands that she's known Reza for years and that he'll never, tell her not to make up with him. But he wants her to have his back as her husband. He made that blatantly clear. Okay. So MJ let him know, look, that she riding with him all days and all ways. She let him know, she let him vent and let him get everything out. But she let him know, look, I'm with you all day, ride or die. Right. So Tommy, he feels better about that. So Tommy, they proceed to talk. Tommy calls Reza trash. He called Gigi a gutter rat. And he said that Destiny looks like the Count from Sesame Street. Oh my gosh. This is when it all started for me. Okay. I just started from this point on, I was laughing about everything, right? He also pointed out that, Mike didn't attend Baby Sham's Sip and See. And he was hurt by that, right? Because he thought, they were all good. MJ thought that they were all good. But I think Mike chose a side. Reza didn't show up, obviously. Him and MJ, they were not cool at that point. So Mike chose a side, right? So he made up some excuse and he didn't go. So MJ and Tommy, they felt the way about that. Now back to Reza and MJ. Let's move on to Reza and MJ. So they meet up. And Reza, he took responsibility for his actions, and then they planned a trip for Mike's birthday. And I'm just like, wait a minute. So we just going to glaze over that? It was a very quick, meeting. MJ was like, I gotta go because my baby's gonna wake up from his nap. It just seemed like that they're only doing it for the show, right? Like, it doesn't seem like, I don't know, is their friendship done? Y'all think their friendship is over and done with? I don't know. So Reza extending that restraining order. I wanted to bring this up or make a point about this. Reza extending that restraining order against Tommy, I think is out of spite. You know, I think I said this last season that Reza was so used to trashing MJ and no one really sticking up for her except for Mike. Mike would stick up for her sometimes. And now that she has Tommy, well, you know, he's not in control anymore, nor can he like bully MJ without someone coming to her rescue. And I think that he was scared about that because he's not used to that. Like, him and MJ get into knockdown, drag out fights. They say some crazy stuff. And I think that Reza is so used to being, quote, in control, I guess. And then he'll hit you with the ugly cry, you know? And then MJ will just be like, okay, yeah, well, we've been friends, and you know, for so long. But nah, after he said what he said and Tommy came at his neck, you know, rightfully so, you should be scared. But I do think that him extending the restraining order for 3 years is definitely out of spite. It's like a power move. He wants to kind of still feel like I'm in control. I don't know if he's expecting MJ to beg and grovel for him to remove the restraining order, but I don't see her doing that. I remember last year when they went on that trip for, who was it? Paulina's birthday, Mike's birthday, whoever birthday it was when they went on a trip last year. Didn't Reza say that he's going to drop the restraining order? Didn't he say that when him and MJ were out sitting on the grass talking? I don't know. Reza's a control freak. Anyway, so Paulina, that's Mike's girlfriend, honey. The group text heard around the world. So in the wee hours of the night, while the Shahs were asleep, Paulina sends screenshots of a text conversation that Mike was having with another woman, right? So Gigi, in her confessional, she basically wanted no parts, and she replied that, you know, she was eating a slice of pie. She probably was, you know, she was up in the air, up in the clouds, put it that way. And she was focused on eating her slice of pie, and she basically told Paulina that she doesn't text her or talk to her on a regular basis. So, like, girl, bye. Like, Mike is your problem. This is what he do, sweetheart. Now, please do not interrupt me. I want to eat my pie. Reza, he is eating this up because he knows how Mike is. So this is just another opportunity for Reza to kind of like sun Mike. Mike, what are you doing? You know, he likes to belittle Mike and kind of put him in his place, so to speak. So, yo, this is crazy. So Destiny, she finds the entire thing gross, right? Because she got the text message too. And she finds it's gross because the messages are graphic, and Mike also sent a pic of himself. So Reza was laughing. Reza was like, this is a 10-year-old picture. I can't. So the next scene is a mess, right? So MJ and not MJ. Oh my gosh, I'm getting ahead of myself. And yeah, MJ and Tommy, they basically are having a dinner, right? So they invite Paulina and Mike over, right? So, and this is where the shenanigans got even more ridiculous, right? So they were having a conversation outside, and out of the blue, Mike says, the other day, I started getting these strange text messages. MJ goes, oh boy. So I start cracking up because MJ already, like I said, all of them are used to this. MJ tried to warn Paulina last year, and Paulina was not having it. Whatever. Mike went into this whole production about his iCloud being hacked, and someone, not him, was responding to this unknown person who texts his phone, right? This is what Mike is saying. Then this mystery person somehow sent Paulina this entire text thread, and then she sent it to the group because she sent it to the group saying that, you know, this is what Mike is doing, and I'm over it. I'm done. Now, Tommy interrupts Mike's story, right? Because it's time for his routine affirmations, right? So one of his affirmations of gratitude was, I'm grateful for Mike. And he said, Jessica. Jessica is Mike's ex-wife, right? Who he cheated on, basically. And that relationship went up in flames. That was a mess. The girl done converted over to Mike's religion. That's a mess. Mike is a mess. So his current girlfriend's name is Paulina, but Tommy probably ain't even paid attention. Anyway, so Tommy says, why can't you change your phone number? Mike says that he can't do that because he had that number for 25 years. Tommy says, I changed my number. Best thing I ever did. Tommy is so funny to me, man. He is hilarious. So I noticed that, as usual, Mike is doing all the talking. He's very controlling, right? Almost as if he rehearsed this story, And I also noticed that he gently rubbed Paulina's leg when she was talking and saying certain questions, as if to tell her to pipe down. I just noticed that. Go back and look at the scene. He just, stroked her leg a little bit, and it was kind of like, yo, you doing too much, pipe down, because she didn't say anything after that, right? Now, MJ said to Mike, this was the funniest part of the entire episode to me. Mike is doing all of this storytelling, and MJ just, with a straight face, says, did you text anything sexual back? Totally ignoring, right, that Mike's made up story, because like I said, MJ knows how Mike gets down. Yo, that had me cracking up, because she said it, like I said, with a straight face. She knows that this is bogus. She knows what Mike does. Meanwhile, Reza and Destiny and Gigi, they're at Reza's house, chopping it up about Mike. And he's telling the girls that he met up with MJ, and that they're going to put together this little group trip for Mike's birthday, right? Anyway, back to MJ's place. So MJ, at this point, MJ and Paulina, they're in the kitchen, right? Mike and Tommy, they're outside in the backyard. So MJ and Paulina, they're in the kitchen, and Paulina is telling MJ that she's caught Mike a few times texting girls. This is not the first time that this happens. And I'm like, yikes. Now, drinks are flowing. Paulina is drinking, but you could tell that she is fed up. So MJ, she's kind of trying to console Paulina. She's listening to her. You can hear Tommy being loud outside, cracking jokes. Mike, he looks nervous as hell. And here's what I want to say. MJ tried to tell Paulina, that Mike is controlling and trying to, and Mike blew up at MJ basically for blowing up his spot, right? And here it is, a year later or a season later or whatever, on this new season, Paulina is complaining about Mike in her kitchen. But Paulina, when she tried to tell you this, you kind of brushed her off and kind of told Mike you felt uncomfortable, and you took it out on her. But I get it. I understand. You was going to stick by your man. It is what it is. Mike, here's what I want to say to Mike. I wish Mike would stop entering into these relationships trying to prove that he's a faithful man. I don't know if he's trying to please his parents. I don't know if he's trying to keep up with this image that he has to keep up with. But it is exhausting, and you are leaving a trail of broken hearts all around town. Why? So they eventually leave. Paulina and Mike, they leave. MJ is determined to finish cooking her steak, okay, and potatoes to feed her guests. So they leave, and they're getting in the car, Mike and Paulina, and he's like, oh my gosh, Paulina, you're so drunk. He's just straight up gaslighting her, and she gets so pissed off, and she screams, F you. Yo, this is crazy. She's like, F you, Mike. So she takes off her shoes, and she gets out the car, and he's just like, oh, he's holding his face like he is so distraught and embarrassed that Paulina is drunk. Paulina ain't no drunk. She knew what the heck she was saying. Did she have a couple of shots in 1942 and a couple of drinks? Yes, she did. But Mike made sure that he was on guard. He made sure that he didn't drink too much, because he didn't want to start saying some stuff that he would regret, right? So he just tried to deflect. It was gross. He should have just not said anything. He tried to scold her to basically, deflect. So she took her shoes off, and she was just like, F you, Mike. You're not coming home with me. So here's what I don't understand. You went and got an apartment, Mike. So who's staying at your house? Is Paulina staying at your house with the kids? You said you put it up for sale. Oh, she needed space, so she's probably back at her place with the kids. Mike probably doesn't want to be in that house alone. Mike got himself that apartment, that bachelor pad, so he could do him. That's exactly why. Paulina needed space. He didn't want to stay at the house. He's trying to make her think like, okay, I'm going to put the house up for sale, which he probably is, so we could buy a house together, feeding her this false sense of hope. Mike went and got an apartment because he wants a bachelor pad. I ain't beat. But episode 1 of the season, off to a great start, in my opinion. I was entertained from beginning to end, and I just want to see if they're going to be able to keep up this momentum throughout the season. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Mike did say that he was hacked. Okay? And here at the royal family headquarters, we have located the individual that hacked Mike's iCloud and DMs. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the man who hacked Mike's DMs. Mike, knock it off. I'm going to need you to just stop. You are too old for these ridiculous remedial lies. He sounded like he rehearsed this several times and he was ready to perform. No one asked you about the text messages when you were sitting around having dinner with Tommy and MJ. You brought it up because you wanted to get ahead of this. So we shall see what is going to happen. Mike is starting with his shenanigans out the gate. So royal family, drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you next time. And as always, peace.